You're always looking at it going, right, if it was me, would I do that? And that's what I say to my guys at work. You want to make a decision. You don't always have to come to me, but if it was your business, would you do that? And if the answer is yes, then let's crack on and do it.
This week we welcome Rob Gay, co-founder and CEO of Venatus. Venatus are an ad monetization platform for gaming, web and apps, currently serving 7 billion ads per month. Rob is a serial business builder and leader, and in this interview he shares experience on starting, building and growing his business, as well as challenging aspirations for the future. If you're a CXO and want to be interviewed on this channel, or perhaps you want to nominate someone else, then please get in touch via LinkedIn, Facebook or Instagram. Hope you enjoy the episode. So look, I know what your company does, but for the watchers and listeners, do you want to just run over exactly what Venatus do?
We are a ad monetization platform for publishers on the web. So it sounds really sexy, but it's not. It is if you own a website or if you have an app, you obviously have to monetize it. It costs for content, etc. So we specialize. We have technology that algorithms. For example, we do 7 billion ads a month. So those ads, when you're on a website, the banners on the top, the annoying things.
So you're the people who annoy everybody, right?
That's it. But we also make the web free. If it wasn't for us, you'd have to pay for all this content.
You've been asked that question before, I can tell.
Oh yes, yeah. We specialize in gaming and entertainment. So that's our little niche. Obviously, gaming's super hot, which has been great for us, and makes me a little bit cool with the kids as well, because I can talk gaming all day. So.
No, that's cool. So look, obviously I did some research on you before the interview, and I must applaud you on your career in terms of your average. I think your shortest tenure I saw was like 7 years, 8 months or something like that. So you tend to stick around in an organisation, which is pretty good.
I am, whether it's good or bad. So I basically had 3 jobs. I worked for a company for a couple of years. Then I was poached by a company. There was about 4 of them. I worked there for 12 years, took it to 150 people. I was MD when I left, and then started Venatus 12 years ago. So an unusual career, all self-taught basically.
That's pretty good. So we'll go into that, right? We'll go into that. So I'm intrigued as to understand when you started Venatus, what inspired you to start it? What made that decision for you to go and start that company?
By the end of where I was working before, I'd taken it from 4 people up to 150 people globally. It was time for me to go and do something different. Me and the founders there were not seeing eye to eye. I was going to go and work for a big American company, to be honest. And my wife turned around to me and said, "You're better off doing things on your own, Rob. You've run these companies on your own. Why go and do it on your own?" Financially, she was like, "Look, let's do it. Let's have a look." I spoke to my number 2 where I was working. He said, "If you're going, I'll come." And we both said, "Look, this is what we do. We're good at it. Let's chance our arm and see if we can do it ourselves." That was 12 years ago, and I haven't looked back since.
So was the previous company doing the same thing, and you started another spin-off?
Similar. Okay. Similar business, not in gaming, and not as tech-driven as us, but certainly on the sales side. So a lot of, I probably now 20 years experience of online ad sales.
Okay.
I've been around a while.
No, that's fine. So I speak to a lot of people who start their own businesses, and sometimes people are in a fortunate position where they have family wealth or whatever to fall back on to go and start that organisation. Because you started another organisation similar to the previous one, did you need investment, or literally was it day one, couple of phones, couple of laptops, and start bashing out the calls?
That's exactly what it was. We decided not to take investment on. We were privileged that a number of businesses that we'd worked out over the years had been bought, so the founders knew us quite well. So when we said we're going on our own, some very nice offers to help us. We decided to go purely finance it ourselves. We're profitable by month 3. I think, for my way, it focuses you a little bit more. I've seen a lot of people raise a lot of money, and if it's your own money and you've got mortgages to pay,
Yeah.
you're very focused on getting to profitability as quickly as you can.
I see it all the time, and I think you're quite right. So, obviously, I've been in cybersecurity for 15 years, right? And I see so many organisations taking Series A, burning that just to try and get a couple of customers, go to Series B, significant investment, and all they're doing is trying to scale the business. And sometimes it's all well and good giving out the employees loads of swag and making life enjoyable, but unfortunately, with Series B and Series C, there is a serious expectation from the investors to actually start turning some very, very high revenue. So I get it completely. So this industry you're in, I can't see that stopping anytime soon because we're all addicted to our laptops, our phones, etc., and the web. So where do you see the industry going?
So where we concentrate, so when we decided to go gaming, entertainment, so 10 years ago, gaming was still quite new then. It wasn't the topic it is at the moment. It wasn't as popular with advertisers. So we had to work very hard. Then whether it's luck or judgment, gaming over the last 10 years and COVID was very kind to us on a business side because everybody stayed at home gaming. Gaming became popular. Gaming became mainstream, which was the key for us. It wasn't just gaming and entertainment advertisers. It was suddenly the government and the P&G and the Unilevers advertising with us. So that was a massive stepping stone for us. Gaming will carry on. The internet will carry on. It's constantly moving. It's a young man's game. There's a lot more people on their phones these days. But again, they're looking at content. CTV, which is your streaming TV, is becoming incredibly popular. But it's the way the youth are going. It's always moving. Roblox is the new thing that everybody wants to play and use and stuff like that. And in 10 years' time, it'll be something else. But it will still be online, digital.
So, metaverse. You talked about online gaming, internet, etc. Obviously, there's a big push towards metaverse. I haven't really seen anything much of that now. Is that something that you're going to have to engage with? I assume so.
So, I don't think I do a meeting without somebody asking about the metaverse.
Oh, really? Okay.
Okay. The metaverse. Everybody's talking about it. It's the new hot subject. Meta involved in it. Everybody's getting involved. To be honest, in my opinion, from the advertising, it's all about scale. And there are only 3 metaverses, in my opinion, at the moment that's got the scale. Okay. It's Roblox, it's Fortnite, and it is Minecraft, which are all games. Okay. So we're doing quite a bit of work within the Roblox environment. We're building worlds for people. It's very exciting. It's good. If I'm going to be truthful, 3 years ago, people were talking about it and I just didn't see it. I was like, this is a fad. This is not going to happen. It's come on a long way. The quality of what you can do in Roblox is phenomenal. Fortnite will open up more next year. Minecraft, there is stuff you can do there. It's obviously owned by Microsoft, so they're a little bit more restrictive. But that younger audience, that 14 through to 20, they're all involved in the metaverse at the moment. So we're doing quite a bit of work with it, and it's quite exciting. Some of the things we're doing is really good, really good. So
I'd never really thought of the metaverse as the Fortnites and Roblox, both of which my son plays. Right, who's I was going to say how old he was then, but I forgot how old he was. But he's like it. He's got a new version of Fortnite coming out today, and he can't wait for the next version to come out. So, are you talking about you having targeted ads in that game somewhere? Is that what you mean?
That's where Fortnite will go. If you look at Roblox at the moment, Roblox is a good example because they're leading at the moment in the ad world. Roblox, 400 million people playing it. It's until you understand the environment. So it's made up of hundreds of thousands of mini games within Roblox that any good developer can go and build. And then we'll build a game. Obviously, if you want to be super, you can see some great stuff from Mattel they've done in the past. Nickelodeon have done some stuff. So actually a whole game in there. Sometimes we'll just do billboards within a game that's already existing. Okay. So when you're running around as a little character, we can do 3D characters. So it's very engaging. It's not your traditional, if you like, although we do some billboards, it's not your traditional ads everywhere. It's much more engaging. And it's trying to get to that audience. It's no good building something and having nobody come to it. So you have to drive people to it. So we drop little portals in where people can go from one game to another game. It's it's not for our age group, let's be honest, but it's where the kids are at the moment. And the metaverse, everybody, there are lots of metaverses, but for an advertiser, it has to have scale. There's sandbox, there's decentralized and everything like that. They just don't have the scale at the moment, in my opinion.
Okay. So how does Venatus make money? Is it click through, or is it just upfront contract values?
Simple model, whereas you have a website, pool.com, and you've got millions of people going to it, and you've got great content, and that's what you do.
Yeah.
You will then start off going, oh, I need to make some money for this because I need to keep the lights on. You'll start by probably just plugging in Google, and Google will deliver ads for you, and you'll do okay out of it.
Yeah.
Once you get to a certain scale of users, and you're in a particular niche, for us, gaming, you'll probably get carried away and go and hire a load of salespeople and try and do it yourself. And then generally reverts to, you come to specialists like us who will work with you. We'll take a rev share. So we don't just do banners, we do video. We have a creative studio that will mock up around the outside of the site, and we sell takeovers. And what we take your audience to the relevant advertisers. So you might have a site for youngsters, and we might go to Adidas because they've got a new trainer coming out. You might be a League of Legends site. So League of Legends is the biggest esport out there. We have sites that have got 50, 60 million users going there a day. It's an older audience, so Mercedes might want to do an ad with them. But we go out and sell the ad space, and we take a percentage for doing it. Okay. And then we have technology that also does an algorithm where you have almost an auction going on for the sites as well, for the ad inventory.
Cool, thank you. So what is impressive when doing my research on your organisation is how you've gone from you and your mate in terms of co-founder creating this business to now an organisation that's got offices all around the world. So what was the challenge of scaling and growing that business to that sort of level? Because that costs money, right? So you must have some confidence in the people you have, etc. But what was the challenge of actually scaling the business like that?
For the first 5 years, we're purely based in the UK. Although gaming is global, and I've run companies and offices globally, so we did travel an awful lot. Back 5 or 6 years ago, an internet business that was making money wasn't very sexy. Everybody was like, "Come on, Rob, get the investment. You got to grow. You're doing we wanted to make money, so we gradually looked at it. We're always investing. It's a sales company, so salespeople come in, they've got targets, they make the money, we can expand, etc. So we took on investment about 18 months ago, but pre that we were up to 60 people. We were in Korea, Ukraine, Australia, US, and again we worked a very simple model. We find a really good country manager to start with.
Okay.
Get them on the ground. We back them up with our resources and knowing what we do. We have the inventory, so we have our publishers are global. We work with EA; they've got inventory everywhere.
Yep.
And then let them build a team on the back of it. We moved our engineer.
Sorry, carry on, Rob. Go on.
We took our engineering out to the Ukraine about 4 years ago. And a lot of people say, and actually at the moment we're expanding that now into the Philippines. A lot of people say, you did that because engineers are cheaper out there. They're actually not. But there's a lot more ad tech engineers out there, which is one of the problems we found in the UK is we get a really good engineer, 6 months to train them up, understand what we're doing, and then some fintech company would come in and promise them the world, and off they'd go instead.
No, indeed. So you talked about taking investment 18 months ago. I assume that helped you with things like the acquisition of Ad in Play, which was obviously a very, very recent news. So what was the reason for that acquisition? Was it just to buy market share, or what was that?
Known them for a long time. Really good company. Based in Holland. They're where we were 7 or 8 years ago. Okay. So they had the option of self-investment, go and expand out, put sales offices all around the world, or partner with somebody who's already got that and move a lot quicker. So they've got some great tech. They work with some great publishers. The people, which is really important for me, are really good. We've known them for a long time. They will, it's exciting. It's the first ever acquisition I've done. Which is great because I've run this company now for 12 years, but always learning. And that's what's helped with Living Bridge coming on board. They buy companies all the time, so having them big brother helping us, making sure we're doing the right things has been really good. So yeah, really excited to, integration now is going to be one of the key bits, making sure it's not just buying a company and letting them carry on themselves. We're really keen to get them within the business. And the idea is, 2+2 makes 5 rather than 4. So get both companies together and see where we can go over the next 2 years.
No, that's good. I think so. I've witnessed and been part of the resulting acquisitions. So actually integrating new organisations that my companies have bought, the companies I've worked for. But I've never actually been involved in the physical acquisition. I've helped organisations find companies to buy, but never been through that process. So, how did you find that process? Because it must be quite exciting, right?
It is exciting. It's a challenge because this process started probably 12 months ago, and the world is in a different place now than where it was 12 months ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, obviously we went through the investment 18 months ago, and that was a big investment. That was, we were considering selling the overall business, but in the end we worked with a partner. We sold 50% of the business to them, and we went through DD. And DD, I can remember our advisors like, "This is going to take over your life, Rob." And I'm like, "I live my business. I know my business inside out. There's not a question you can't. I've got everything on my fingertips." 6 months later of 18-hour days of getting through due diligence. And I explained this to Mikkel, who owns AdInplay. And he was like, no, he's exactly the same as me. This is going to be fine. And then obviously 6 months of constant questions and constant drilling down, etc. So it's been an education for him, been an education for me going through it. Making sure the money made sense, then going through all the lawyers, etc. But I think the big thing now is how the next 100, we've got a 100-day plan. We've got them all coming over next week, and that 100-day plan is vital for me because if we get that right, then everything will be fine.
Cool. Well, one thing you mentioned earlier was we talked about people. So obviously, acquiring good people is important as well. As a CEO and a leader, those staff look up to you. So how do you manage them? How do you motivate them? How do you get the most out of them? Tough task, right?
It is. It's make sure you get the right people. So hiring the right people is the key. And probably one of the proudest things for me is not where we've taken Venatus, but how many people have been with me for 10 years. And I run a sales company, and salespeople don't stay with companies for 10 years.
I speak from experience.
They literally
exactly.
don't. Yeah. And we must have 8 or 9 people who've been with me 10 years. All the way through from, they came in as sales execs and now they're sales directors or they're ad hoc directors. So we obviously do something well. I think probably my strength is man management. We have a whole variety. I'm a salesman, so I'm allowed to say it. Salespeople are tricky people. There you go. To deal with, to manage. All of them have different needs and all very needy. So managing them and different nuances, but also because we have an operations team in London, so they're all in the same building, they're all on the same floor, which is unusual to have sales and operations together. And operations people are, again, different beasts. So managing people is my biggest strength, and probably delegation. I'm quite good at delegating. If you've got good people, trust them.
Yeah. Sorry, did you say you're good at delegating or not so good at delegating?
I am very good at delegating. My business partner probably thinks I delegate everything, but yeah. So having the right people and be able to delegate and trust them is key.
Oh, I've lost your audio, Rob. You there?
Okay. Yep.
Okay, good. So look, you mentioned something really interesting there, right? You talk about delegation. So I was with a guy the other day who we're promoting into a manager role, and we think he's got the ability to do it. He has the skills, but he doesn't have the management skills because delegation was a massive issue because he's taken on far too much. One thing is, you don't go to CEO school. You don't go to managing director school. So how did you learn to lead a company of 100 people?
I ask myself sometimes. Sometimes that's what keeps me up at night.
Oh.
Did you hear me?
I can now, yeah. I just dropped out for a second, but you're there.
Okay. Again, it is self-taught. going all the way through, if you remember, I ran a company for 12 years before. A lot of people turn around to me and say, look, Venatus has been a huge success. You've started it when you were 40. Are you not gutted you started it when you were 30? I learned a lot in those 12 years.
Yeah.
An awful lot about running a company, an awful lot about making mistakes. Maybe I made mistakes on someone else's payroll. I learned from other people, and I also learned what they were doing wrong. And that's, there's nothing wrong with making mistakes as long as you learn from them. And that company went from 4 to 150. So did some amazing things the first 8 years. I thoroughly enjoyed. Maybe they're not the latter years, but I learned a lot as I went along. I was recruiting somebody the other day, and they'd started their own business and it failed, and they were embarrassed about it. To me, that is brilliant. You've had the guts to go and do it.
Absolutely.
It's a hard thing to do. You've seen what went wrong, and sometimes it can't always work. It doesn't mean you're not good at your job. It's just luck is still 90% of where you get to in life. Somebody who's tried to do it, failed, brilliant, come on board. Learn, as long as you learn from your mistakes, don't make them twice.
No, exactly. So you answered one of my questions I was going to ask earlier in terms of is success down to hard work or mostly luck? And I think you answered there saying that everyone needs luck to be successful.
They do. You're generally luckier though if you work hard.
So that's all my sales guys. The harder you work, the luckier you'll be, right?
And it's it's the old golf joke, isn't it? It's exactly that. The harder I work, the luckier I can be. And it's a numbers game, and you have to, and it's hard in sales because you can be working really hard and you can just be unlucky. And as a leader, you have to know whether that person is working hard. And remote's made it even trickier.
Yeah.
But generally, you recruit people, you can tell whether they can sell. And if they work hard enough and you give them a good enough product, they will.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll hit the numbers.
So what would your staff say to you or say about you in terms of what sort of leader you are? And keep it clean, right?
Well, I guess some of them like me because some of them stay. I like to think I'm democratic. I like to think that people can come to me and I'll listen. Approachable. I'm quite direct. If something needs to be said, I'm not rude, but I'm not very good with the fluffy stuff. Let's cut to it and say it how it is.
Yeah.
But never rude about it. Hopefully approachable. That's why people have been with me a long time. I lead from the front. I started, I was managing director 12 years ago, and then when we started again, Matt and myself were back out knocking on doors and selling to 20-year-olds, and we've gone all the way through it. And if you come in and you need me to come on a meeting with you, I'll come on a meeting with you. And I get as excited when that new sales exec does their first $5,000 deal as when one of the senior guys brings in $500,000. It's I still get tickled by it. I'm proud, and off we go again. So hopefully approachable, but don't suffer fools.
Good answer. How do you measure your own success?
Honestly, up until probably 4 or 5 years ago, money.
Okay.
How much money was I doing? I always set myself, I want to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I think as somebody commented in my best man's wedding speech that I said I was going to be this by this age, and he's got there type of thing. So it's always money, money, money. Salesperson driven by money. Yeah. Luckily, I've been successful. Now it's not so much an ego thing, but I never thought I'd run a company 100 people, valuation over 100 million. Now I'm not ridiculous that we're going to be a unicorn and we're going to be that $1 billion company, but we could certainly be a $500 million company. Okay. We've got 100 people. We're in Korea, we're in America. We've probably got 10 people in America. I'd like to take that to 30, 40 people. So that's really what I want to be. I'd run this company for years, 50 odd people, and it was that Christmas question by your parents. It's like, so what do you do again? Well, I sell ads for EA. Ooh, you must be successful. Well done. I quite like it that people, they're never outside the industry, but the more people within the industry go, Venatus, you're the leaders of what you do. So the money side is, we're still driven by money and how big we can take the company. But probably that little bit of the ego. Can I take this business to 250 people? Can we be a $500 million business type of thing? So that's what pushes me at the moment.
That's pretty good. So what's the timeline for that goal? $500 million.
Well, when you've got PE investors, everything's flat out. So
I'm not going to hold you to it, and I'm sure the PE people won't hold you to it either, right? If you give me a date, but there we go.
The crystal ball question is how quickly the economy will come back. And if you're in an industry that hasn't been affected over the last 4 months, then fantastic for you. It affected most businesses, affected advertising, 100%. I'm confident that the market will be some real green shoots starting to come through, and by September we'll be up and flying again. So I'd say it's probably put me a year back. I would have looked at being hitting these numbers by the end of 24. It might be the end of 25 now.
Okay.
Well, I
think
we're
talking about the green shoots, right? There was news out today, right, that said that I think January there was economic growth for the first time in a while, or it's going the right way, which is where we want to be, right? I've got some quick fire questions for you, right? So let's just ask you some of these. Okay, can anyone be a leader?
No.
Okay, I think
no.
You can't.
There's things I can't do as well. So not everybody can be a leader.
Okay. Have you ever kept someone on payroll for longer than you should have done?
Yep.
Okay. Ever stayed in a job too long?
I've not stayed in many jobs, have I? So no,
that's not relevant for you, is it?
That one's not relevant for me, no.
Will England ever win the Football World Cup again?
Yes.
Says the Welshman, right?
Says the Welshman, but that many good players, 100%.
Let's hope so one day. What wins, heart or logic for you in decision making?
Logic.
Okay.
That's
does the room go quiet when you walk into the office, or do they all start picking up the phone?
People don't work the phone anymore. Those were the days, isn't it? Everything's done over chat or WhatsApp or anything these days. No. We're the office keeps me young. The average age in that office is about 28. I'm the grey old man that comes in, but hopefully energetic enough that I enjoy coming to work. Somebody said the other day, we had a consultant in, and she's like, I can't believe how much passion you still have for your business. I love it. We've got a great business. I've got great people. So that thing of I always look forward to going into work, it's not quite true, but I do enjoy it.
That's an honest answer there, right? And I think that you mentioned there about having the right people is so key. Because when I'm hiring sales teams, I don't hire 10 clones of the same person. They all need to bring their own character, their own personality, their own skill. The fact they're all going to get on with each other is really important. So, what advice would you give to yourself when you started your career 3 or 4 companies ago? Would you change things, or would you keep it as it is?
I've no regrets, and that goes back to should I have started this earlier? No. I really enjoyed what I was doing, and maybe I should have left it a year earlier, but in the scheme of things, no. Everything, we all make mistakes, but nobody's perfect. There's nothing I'd go back and go, do you know what? Yeah. Even people I look at, I've got some, obviously, being in sales for 25 years, I've fired a lot of people, and quite a few of them have gone on and been incredibly successful.
Yeah.
Chatting to them, they go, well, were you wrong? I wasn't wrong at the time. I was right. And it probably was something that was really good for you. And maybe you suddenly had that light bulb thing. Actually, Rob's right. I should be doing this more. And you've gone and done that. And now you've been successful. So, no. Life's too short. Can't have regrets.
So what made you a salesperson? Because not everybody's a salesperson, right? So why sales for you?
Oh, I was born a salesperson.
Really? You're one of those
It's the only thing
right?
I can do, Paul.
Okay.
I am literally, that's what I can do. I know, we were out at a dinner party a year or 2 ago, and I knew nobody, and everybody was like, so what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a salesman. And my wife's like, well, you could tell him you're the CEO, couldn't you? But I am actually a salesman. That's what I do. Yeah. I'm proud of it.
So we had a conversation a few years ago, I think it was pre-lockdown, and I commented on your number plate because I love your number plate on your car, right? But I think you made a comment to me that people shouldn't be embarrassed or concerned about admitting they're a salesperson. I think that's an issue this side of the pond. If you go to America, it's a bona fide, respected role where people sell. They fix business challenges, they add value, etc. Over here, that's not the case at all. It's like, oh no, another phone call from a salesperson, which really annoys me because it's a professional career. So,
and people should be. I go back to they should be proud. And what I like in the States is, in the States you can still be a salesman at my age. Yeah. Over here, everybody's obsessed to go to management and do this and do that. Just because you're a good salesman, it doesn't mean, and management's not that much fun as well. So it goes, you can be a salesman, and that's what I still consider myself, for as long as you want, and probably make far more money than the managers are doing. Exactly. I got salespeople who earn far more than everybody else.
Yeah, well, that's the way it should be, though, right? So
100%.
As a sales manager, then I agree with that. Were there any sliding door moments in your career history where you took a certain step or a certain risk which had a massive impact in the way you went forwards?
If I hadn't done Venatus with Matt, so I would say to anybody, if you're going to go and start your own business, don't do it on your own. Have a partner.
Interesting.
It's incredibly hard. And if anybody, people who know us, we are chalk and cheese. There is literally, you couldn't find two more opposites.
Okay.
I mean, in every aspect of life. I'm massively into sport. He's massively into music and gaming. I'm sure everything. But when we went, he's very good at tech and processes, and being a salesman, I'm not very good at processes and stuff like that. So actually being so different has been fantastic for us. So although when at the time I was managing director and he was commercial director, whatever he was, when we came and we were both equal partners, that was the key. I'm not saying I wouldn't have made a success of it, but having a partner and having the right partner makes life, especially at the start. I mean, you have some really tough times at the start, and you start questioning yourselves. We questioned a lot. Sometimes I'd be approached by a website that I'd worked with for years, and they were like, "Look, Rob, I know you can make us money. Do you want to do the ad sales?" And I'm like, "It's not gaming, but we're starting off. Let's do it." And Matt would be like, "No, let's stick to gaming." The next morning he'd come in and goes, "I'm thinking about it. Let's go with that website." And I'm like, "Nope, you're right." So bouncing off each other at the start when it is tough. If anybody, a lot of people look at me and go, friends, and go, I'm going to start my own business, Rob. This is great. I'm like, you forgot what it was like the first year or so.
So that's interesting, right? So some of the people I've spoken to, I'd probably say 90% of them are co-founders, not founders, which I think echoes what you just said. I think you're more likely to be successful if you do it with somebody else, because you're sharing, not so much sharing risk, but you're sharing costs, you're sharing expertise, responsibilities, all that sort of good stuff. So I think that's a really, really good point. Especially
if you've worked with them before, knowing each other, knowing your strengths and knowing your weaknesses, and trust. Yeah. Great.
Okay. So what advice would you give to those people? So obviously the idea of this show is to interview people like you to understand how you got there, what you've done. So what sort of advice would you give to somebody, whether they be 18 or whether they be 38, that wants to be a CEO? What advice would you give them?
I'd ask why they want to be a CEO.
Okay.
everybody likes the idea of
answering a question with a question. Always a salesman.
But everybody likes the idea. Oh, it's a CEO, and when things are good, it's nothing better than being at the top of the tree. When things aren't going so good, it's not great, and you're responsible for everything. You're responsible. If it's good, it's great. If it's not so, the two things I say it to my kids, and I say it to anybody, is you have to work hard. Everything. No, I'm not saying anybody. I'm sure somebody wins a lottery and they didn't work hard. But generally in life, whether it's football, whether it's work, whether it's music, you have to work hard to be successful.
Yeah.
And the harder you work, you will get lucky. And the key is, and it's something I do have, you've got to believe in yourself. Self-belief.
Yeah.
Yeah. Believe in yourself. Why can't, I'm dyslexic. And, it kind of holds you back. the kind of thing you never mentioned when you're 18, 19, back when I was 18, 19.
Yeah.
Now it's openly talked about. It's not a problem and stuff like that. But self-belief that, I truly do believe if I put my mind to it, I can do it. And if people have that mindset and work hard, you'll be successful. You'll find a niche.
So, bit of a tricky question, a personal question, but it's not too personal. You're obviously successful, okay? You're CEO of a company. You've got a couple of children who look up to their dad, who's been successful. How do you manage expectation on their success because they want to be like dad, but you're quite unique in terms of what you've done because not everyone has created a business and CEO. So how do you manage the expectation on the kids because you don't want to put too much pressure on them?
They're good kids. They've got the same work ethic. Neither one of them are geniuses, but they work hard. They're academic better than me, which is not that hard. But if you take Reese, who's the elder, was flying at school, then struggled a bit at school, put his head down, then sixth form worked out better for him, but remembered it was COVID. Then did well enough, he's off at uni, and he's thriving at uni again. So there's different ways education works, and I'm not one of these people that insists everybody has to have a degree. I've got people who work with me who got degrees, super clever and done brilliantly. I was actually out for lunch yesterday with a guy who worked with me 20 years ago. And he actually he'd been working for 5 or 6 years, but he started straight from school. So he's done incredibly well. So you don't have to have a degree, but they're grounded kids. That neither one of them, everybody turns around and goes, "Oh, you're going to run dad's business?" Both of them straight off, "Nope, I'm going to run dad's business. I'm going to do it myself."
Either of them are salesmen?
Neither one are as salesy as me.
Okay.
But they're both pretty good at getting what they want. So they've got that, they get on with people. Okay. And that's a lot to do with sales. A lot to do with sales is judging your audience, and being able to play to that, or not play to the audience, but work with that person you're with. Everybody is different. And if you're liked, and you'll be all right.
That's true. I think if you are a generally nice person, you work hard, you've got a good character, you're likeable, and you've got good communication skills, I think you'll be successful. And I can even put that back to primary school. I remember when one of my kids did their SATs exams, didn't do particularly well, but they went and flourished at secondary school because they were a good communicator. They were popular, not popular as in they were in the popular group at school. Just the fact they were a nice person, and I think that goes a long way. If you weren't a CEO, what would you have done? If you weren't a salesperson in this, what would you have done, do you think? If you had that sliding door moment 20 years ago and you went a different direction?
Well, 30 years ago, I wouldn't have gone on the ski trip that shattered my knee. And
okay. Hindsight's a wonderful thing.
I'd have carried on playing rugby. What would I have done? It would have been something in sales. And I do think a lot of people look at it and go, "Oh, you've been really successful. You're a CEO." I'm good at that bit. It doesn't mean I'm good at everything else. There are people, I think, judge too much on money and where you are in your career. I can't cook. I've got friends who are fantastic. That's a huge talent. It's just so my talent is the one that makes money. It doesn't mean it's better than everyone else's talent. It doesn't. I truly believe that. There's people, I can't sing, I can't dance. I'd love to be able to do something like that. I'm tone deaf. It's just, I got lucky that the thing I'm good at is helps you in your career and make money.
I think in my experience, if you're good at something, you can make good money from it, I think you can.
Yeah, that's true.
So it just so happens that you're a good sales guy. So I've got a couple of questions for you. Then I'm gonna
Sure.
then I think we'll probably wrap up. But
Cool.
Okay, you're going away for a weekend. You're sharing a flat with somebody. Who would you choose out of Alan Shearer or Alan Sugar?
Shearer. I don't like sugar.
Yeah, fair enough. Another one, a different weekend. David Beckham or David Brent?
Brent's funny. Beckham.
Yeah.
Again, I'm too sporty. I'm sorry.
No, you are. I could have told you what the answer was. I should have
Love to
picked some
talk to
different
him.
ones. Last question then. So, in fact, last two questions. Who would you like to see on the show in terms of profile, person? Because I'll reach out and speak to anybody.
Ooh.
But it can't be the likes of Alan Sugar, right? It has to be,
realistic
that they'll take my call, okay?
Well, that's thrown me, because I would have said somebody like Sorrel or Bezos or something like that, because I'd love to know whether these super successful people, whether they'll admit it was down to luck rather than just being better than everybody else. I'd like an interview. I'd like to interview a owner of a football club, of Woking or something like that. What drives those people to put all their money into something?
They're never going to get back.
That sometimes, and I get the ego and things like that, but surely you could just do it with, your local Chobham rugby club and just put a couple of grand in a year rather than millions of pounds into these businesses that they've. So those two, that has always interested me. And what's always interested me is where you've got people who've made it when they're 30, 40, 50 and everything, and they're still working. The Sorrel's a perfect example. He's 75 years of age and works every single day.
Yeah.
He has all the money. Surely you want to enjoy it.
Well, perhaps making it is what he enjoys, or the act of the business is what he enjoys. It could be.
I don't think I could ever stop, but I could stop doing 5 days a week.
Yeah, okay. So look, you give me a challenge there. So there's one guy, and I saw this on Amazon Prime the other day. I think it talked about Macclesfield Town that obviously went bust. They got kicked out of the Football League. And I know Robbie Savage was involved, and it was his best mate who bought the club. So that's going to be a target for me, and also Woking FC owner as well. So I'm going to go for both of those, right? Last thing, any analogy or a quote or anything which you think is important or inspires you or you live your life by? Put you on the spot a bit, I'm afraid. There we go.
Yeah, probably not what you're looking for, but my father worked for big companies. He had, actually, to be honest, fair play to me, he had his own business and then had an accident. A lot of time in hospital, had to start again working for big companies. He always told me, if you're going to be successful, no matter who you're working for, you treat every penny like you should own. So, i.e., whoever you're working for, work for that business as though it's your own business, because you then always make the right decision or the best decision for you. You're always looking at it going, right, if it was me, would I do that? And that's what I say to my guys at work. You want to make a decision, you don't always have to come to me, but if it was your business, would you do that? And if the answer is yes, then let's crack on and do it. Yeah. And if it's wrong, I could equally have got it wrong, but if you always treat it like it's your own business, then you'll generally crack on and do well.
Very well said. Very well said. Any questions for me at all, Rob, before we close up?
What made you want to do this?
I love speaking to people. I've been a salesperson for 25 years. I've spoken to CEOs of some of the largest companies in the world, and I interview salespeople all the time. That's what I spend so much time doing because I built so many sales teams for people. So I think there's a lot of advice and guidance that people like you and other people I speak to that would really help people understand what it's like to be in the role you're in, how to get there, what pitfalls there are. So that's really what I'm doing, and why not? I'm not looking to monetize this and make myself a multi-billionaire out. That's not what it's about. It's speaking with people, making use of the connections I have, and just trying to put a voice out there. Really, that's what it's about.
Great, good luck. I like
cool. It. Thank you, Rob. Well, look, it's been.
And if you need any help, just shout. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, especially if it comes to advertising and trying to monetize it, right? If only. Rob, have a great day.
I'll tell you the good people to go to.
Oh, really? It's been a pleasure speaking to you, Rob. Thanks for being on the show. It's been good fun. All right, you take care.
All right. Cheers, Paul. Have a good one.
Cheers, Rob.
Bye.
If you're a CXO and want to be interviewed on this channel, or perhaps you want to nominate someone else, then please get in touch via LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram.